Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Southern Wealth. I do hope you're having a wonderful day. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. By the way, guys, this is my first live stream, so there may be a few things to iron out here and there. I do have the streaming in front of me, but I also have here the PC in order to kind of check out what's happening in the chat. By the way, guys, before I start, can you hear me well? Once you join, let me know. So guys, maybe I will just quick start a little bit. So yesterday we did get some wonderful news around the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. It was, sorry, I think I'll need to change something here. 1 second. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so basically the news have been great. We essentially got Grayscale has been proven correct against the SEC once again. Again, my point on this matter was mostly forget a bit the infighting between communities and all of that stuff. The most important thing is indeed the fact that it's another big defeat for the SEC. It's another great victory for our community. And in this case, I always understand people have this kind of back and forth between communities, our community versus that community. But in this case, when we're talking about the SEC, I think we're all in the same boat, right? We all want the same things, and any defeat that you see on these clowns is actually very good for any of us. Being maybe you are involved or not in a specific in a specific coin. Now, the big thing about the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, I think the trust everybody knows, but what's happening is they were trying to convert the trust into an ETF, into a spot ETF, similar to the BlackRock one, and they were denied, I think, back in October 2021 or so. And then what ended up happening was that they sued the SEC because they didn't really see the reason why they were being, shut down, and they were being refused. Because in 2017, Bitcoin futures were already out, so there is no real good reason to explain why they weren't afraid of market manipulation in the future side, but they would be on the spot ETF side. So for people who don't know, derivatives, futures, it's a derivative, which means that you actually don't need to own real Bitcoin, which was the case, by the way. And the problem with that is that you actually don't have the buying pressure every single day that you would have on a spot ETF, in which you have basically daily redemptions, and that fact actually is very helpful to lead into into buying pressure for Bitcoin. And there was a big issue when they were refused, because it was unclear what would be the path for a normal spot ETF on Bitcoin, what could be done to be approved. And by the way, my personal opinion, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust had the weakest legal claim into a spot Bitcoin ETF. And the fact that they win, and it's not just the way they won, is if you actually read what is written, the decisiveness, the complete shutdown of all the SEC argumentation against Grayscale, it's actually brutal. I actually don't know what the SEC can do from here against them. Now, of course, this is great news for Fidelity, for BlackRock, and a bunch of other firms, investment funds, you name it, that were already in the line to pursue this. Now, what does that mean really long term for crypto? My opinion, not much. Why is that? Because what would happen if the innovation in the US gets stopped by clowns like Gary Gensler? So Gary Gensler, by the way, for people who don't know, he actually tried for a job in Binance and he was refused. So he's always been very against Binance since then. And the guy has been basically complete clown, not only with cryptos, but also with stocks. This guy used to give lectures about how certain cryptos were securities and which ones there weren't. And he actually mentioned that about 75% of them were not securities. So this is what he said. And then he comes to with this stance, he goes in front of Congress, right? And he gets a question, very basic question, which is Ethereum a security? Ethereum is the second largest coin, has been here for 10 years almost. Is it or is it not a security? And the guy could not give a straight answer. So this is the type of guys that are unfortunately leading the US regulatory bodies. And what's going to happen is if they keep up with this stance, innovation just goes elsewhere. So now there is a very clear guideline for there's a clear guideline for stablecoins in Singapore. There's already a spot ETF in Europe. There are a bunch of them coming already in the European Union, I think trading out of Amsterdam. The UK has come up with very good regulation on these topics. So it's just a shame. Dubai is already also leading many of the crypto endeavors. I do think Binance headquarters are actually in Dubai as well. So what's going to happen is actually quite simple. Is the innovation, all the good part of crypto who can completely change our relationship even within our government, and we'll just shift someplace else in the globe. Now, I do think there are a lot of intelligent people around, maybe not in the US government, but close to it enough to basically destroy all these notions. So I think what's going to eventually happen is this Gary Gensler, he will be invited out. So he will do something. He will say something around, I need to retire. I'm going to retire. I have some mental breakdown. I have some physical issues, whatever. And I think what's going to happen is basically he's going to get replaced by someone else. That's it. And fortunately, the US should move on. There is no news about this. This is just my expectations. We will see if I am right or not. By the way, you can tell that I'm not experiencing live streams at all because I've been talking for 10 minutes and I haven't even checked if my audio is great or not. But in any case, if you give me 30 seconds. No, it seems good. So I hope it goes smoother next time around that I'm doing this. So please bear in mind with me. I think we have about maybe 4 people in the live stream. So thank you very much. It's my first live stream in case you just dropped by. I've been doing a YouTube channel for the past 3 months or so. We talk about crypto stocks, market, economy, bonds, commodities, you name it. I don't charge anything. The only thing that I like, that I ask is for a like and a subscribe. My God, what a grifter. And I am actually quite pleased that the channel has been growing very nicely. And I hope it can continue like that in the future. Now, pivoting a bit from crypto, we had a big run yesterday. However, I'm tired of saying this, but I will tell eventually people will understand we are in the recovery year. I invite you to go on Twitter or on YouTube and check a guy called Your Friend Saw Me. And he actually just dropped a very nice tweet today or yesterday, where basically you can see on the left side 2019, on the right side 2023. And we're talking about the 4-year cycles in crypto. And basically we're talking about the recovery year. So the year immediately after the bear market. And if you take out the dates, 2019 or 2023, you cannot tell which one is which. Of course, I mean, if you look at the price of Bitcoin, you'll know. But if you don't see that, if you just put the chart pure, naked and simple, you'll see that they mimic each other completely. And it's so amazing that after so long, people still don't get it, how it works. But in any case, I think it's becoming, I hope with the videos it's becoming a bit more obvious. Sorry, man, I have a question. Oh, Arturo, thank you very much for your first question in the first live stream. So you have a great honor around this. And he's asking me if I do expect crypto to follow stocks if stocks make a new all-time high by Q1 next year. Depends on which cryptos you're talking about. So if you're talking about crypto, meaning Bitcoin, the only way I see it making a new all-time high by Q1 is if the BlackRock Bitcoin Spot ETF gets approved and launched sometime, within the next couple of months. Then I do think that there's a chance. Other than that, no. I do think we're probably going to close the year somewhere around 35 to 40K or so. I think around that mark. Unless the Bitcoin Spot ETF comes out. Now, here is where the distinction needs to be made. If the Spot ETF comes out before the halving, which happens in March or April, I do think we're going to probably have a normal cycle, and Bitcoin will probably have its all-time highs in 2025. The all-time highs in 2024, but basically peaking out in 2025. If the Spot ETF comes out, let's say September 2024, October 2024, I do think that's going to probably be the peak of the cycle. Because in my opinion, of course, this is just my expectation, no financial advice, what I think is going to happen is as soon as the ETF comes out, there's going to be huge selling pressure. This is going to be a classical buy the rumor, sell the news event. And this is what people are actually not considering. If you actually see some of my videos, I have a strategy for Bitcoin below 100K, Bitcoin around 180K, and Bitcoin, the blue sky scenario, close to 350K. Now, it all depends on the timing. So if nothing happens until 2024, I don't think we're going to have new all-time highs by Q1. If we do have the Spot ETF and some more defeats of the SEC in the next 2-3 months, I do think we're going to see new all-time highs. I would say 50-50 new all-time highs Q1 2024. But to be honest, I don't mess much with Bitcoin because the opportunity for generation wealth is now gone. But thank you very much for your question. And actually, I'd like to pivot to a different topic that just reminded me. So when I started my YouTube channel, everybody was talking about the banking crisis, the liquidity crisis, the bank's going to fail, commercial real estate, everything's going to fail. And I said, no, we're probably going to see new all-time highs by Q1 2024. Now, this is amazing in one sense of the word, amazing in the sense of funny, not amazing because I'm a witch or anything like that. But it's so funny that all these guys on YouTube, all these pundits on TV, CNBC, Bloomberg, all of these guys, they were all telling you that everything was going to collapse. And by the way, most of these guys sell you stuff, right? Never forget, there's this guy, Jay Bravo, he was saying that 2023 was going to be a super down year and he was going to take advantage of it. Of course, he never came around and said, oh my God, I was completely wrong. But that's to expect on YouTube. This is the dark side of the YouTube finance world. And the reason for it is actually quite simple. You see, raising interest rates plus what was happening in a certain part of the world in Europe, I need to be careful with what I say, otherwise I get shadow banned, was unfortunately very negative for a market that was priced for perfection. So 2021, you had everything you wanted. The market was priced for perfection. What does that mean? That means that anything negative that happens, rising interest rates, conflicts, let's call it that way, anything like that, stocks and the other markets will go down. Just because you need to understand where the stock market was. And particularly when you introduce certain levels of uncertainty, like will this conflict escalate? Is inflation going to come down? Will these higher interest rates completely collapse the entire debt market? Will it collapse the entire stock market, the entire crypto, whatever it may be, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty. Now, as time passes, the market gets used to higher rates because it started to see that actually it's not being the end of the world. That was my point. It was not going to be the end of the world. Now, higher interest rates are unsustainable for the developed economies, but not in 6 months. That's what people get wrong. You see, when these guys come to the shows and when these you need to understand, economists make no money in the market because they think that people are like, it's like a game of chess, right? I move this piece, that piece is moved, that piece is, you change this one, that thing changes automatically. I mean, people are not robots. Things don't work like that. You know, there's times for adjustment. The reason why I said new all-time highs 2024 is because it's an election year in the US. And if you go back in history, you will not find many years, I don't think you're actually going to find one single year, where the stock market went down on an election year. Now, I don't know what they're going to do to prop up the markets, to convince that everything is fine. Maybe we hear some good news on the conflict happening overseas. Maybe the earnings of companies is somewhat better. Maybe the Fed signals some potential rate cuts or some rate stops. Whatever the case may be, I do think we're going to see new all-time highs. I mean, when I look at the charts, look, I also play a bit the technical analysis game. Now, you may recall, just before I went on holiday, I said, we just went vertical in stocks. This is not normal. We need to pull back 5, 6, 8, 6, 7, 8%. It's fine. If we would go to 12, 15, 14, that is more dangerous. But if we stay 5, 6, 7, 8, that's fine, right? And actually, what happened? I think the next 2 days or so, the stocks start selling. And again, the Harry Dents and the Peter Schiffs and the whatever. oh, this is the top. You see it, it's gonna go down. One guy says buy gold, the other one says buy bonds. Bonds, by the way, completely collapsed. And indeed, the sell-off in the debt market was actually quite worrisome to a degree because, the debt market is all that matters. That's more. The bond market is way more important than the stock market. But people just look at one side. They look at the small market instead of understanding what's happening in the big market. That is the problem. That is where if there's something going to happen, it's going to come from there. And what did I say? We should sell off between 5 and 8%. What happened? I came here and I said, look, we should start to find some support and actually going up. Why? S&P had sold off 5.6%. The Nasdaq and the Russell had sold off about 7.5%. So fine, looks like a good retracement. We should start seeing some movement up. Next day, we saw movement up. The other day, which was yesterday, much higher movement, and today another higher movement. But the point is, it's just a simple retracement. But here is the issue with YouTube. Channels attract attention if they are predicting constantly the end of the world. Why? Because the human species is geared into hating bad stuff happening. So we pay more attention to it. So that's why for every 10 videos, for every, 20, 25 videos, maybe you have one that dares to suggest, oh, maybe this was just a retracement, we're going to move higher. And people say, oh no, that's not going to happen, it's impossible, blah, blah, blah. And all the other guys get proven wrong over and over again. But the only thing they need to do is to come up with a new narrative of why it's going to go down. That's it. That's all they need to do. And they keep this. And then eventually, one day, things do go down because there's no market in the world that goes up every single day of every single year. It just doesn't exist. And when that happens, it's, aha, I told you, I told you. And this is how they lure the attention of people. Same thing goes for the TV, for CNBC, Bloomberg, etc. They tell their audience what the audience wants to hear. So if people have inflation fears, if people are concerned about whatever, they will feed you that kind of information over and over again, and they will come up with multiple reasons why their biases will be proven right. What I did was actually quite simple. I actually have some trading analysis that I tend to follow up. And what happened was I saw that we were at a big support level and the momentum was starting to flatten out and to turn a bit upwards. So I said, most likely we're going to go up. That's it. I'm not a genius. I'm not a magician. I'm not anything. I just avoid listening to these crazy people because they profit out of your attention. So they will tell you anything that will attract that attention. It's as simple as that. There's no big secret. It's just, if I come here and I say the world is ending, every week, I'll probably have thousands of views. And then I will come up with stories why the world is ending. But what kind of value am I really bringing? There's no value. And just look at what happened to people that have been shorting the markets over the past few years. Just check what happened to them. And the reason for it is actually quite simple. Between 1913 and 2023, the dollar has lost 98.5% of its value. Because stocks are priced in the dollar, talking about the ones in the US, there is always a natural movement of stocks up and to the right. That's it. It's as simple as that. Hey, so we have another comment from Tuga303. What an interesting name. Managed to catch the live stream. Nice videos, dude. Thank you very much for your support. By the way, guys, if you're tuning in, only thing that I ask, please drop a like and subscribe. I'm not going to sell you anything. There's no private groups, there's no Discord, there's no hidden financial advice. It is a simple information and a hobby of mine that I want, an information channel and a hobby that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. Now, one of the reasons I created this channel, probably one of the main reasons I would say, is actually around the phenomena of Memestocks. So when I saw that whole thing developing in 2020, 2021, it was actually quite interesting and at the same time quite scary, if you will, because I knew exactly what was going to cause with all the other stocks. You know, I've told you in the previous video of mine that I was a big fan of wrestling. So I'll try to give you a good example, right? There was a match I used to love, was Mankind versus The Undertaker on Hell in a Cell. Everybody knows this is the one that he throws him out of the cell. So pretty, hardcore match, right? And it was great. And everybody knows it. It's been famous for a long time. Where is the problem of that? That is made by two guys who are excellent in what they are doing. Problem is, because it's so successful, so memorable, that a bunch of low quality, low talent people will copy paste the original and will turn it into crap. So this is actually what happened with the short squeeze. So you need to go back to the beginning to understand why did we have all this craziness that we didn't have, for example, let's say 50 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. So what happened is actually quite simple. We had a little situation going on in the world in 2020. I think everybody remembers it. And what happened? Governments panic, central banks panic, print unlimited amounts of money, lower rates to the minimum possible, send stimulus checks to people's houses. And now, I knew some people that were getting $10,000 per month while still working at the same time. It was completely crazy, right? They were making more money from the stimulus checks than from the actual, the actual job they had. So what happened? Did people spend all that money? No, they are locked inside their houses. What are we going to do? Well, maybe we're going to invest that money. So what happened was the retail investment volume from one year to the other went up something like 300% or something. It was complete crazy. So basically, now you have all these people in the market that you didn't have in years prior. Second problem, because interest rates are so low, hedge funds need to derive yield. They need to make money. But instead of being very easy, it becomes very hard when you have bonds yielding 0.5%, 1%, becomes very difficult. So what do? They go further in the risk curve, like shorting many times on leverage certain beat down, crappy, dying business stocks. Problem, over shorting the stocks to the point where the float is so limited. If you get enough buying power, you push the stock price not so hard to do it, you can push the price higher. By pushing the price higher, if you don't sell, you force the shorts to cover at higher and higher prices, which means by covering, stock goes up because they need to rebuy the stocks at a higher price, which triggers another short squeeze, which makes the shorts buy again, which triggers another squeeze, which so on and so forth. And you had the example of GameStop. And with GameStop, you had also an unprecedented level of interest and volume coming from the retail investors all at the same time, within a very short time frame. So it was not just the short covering, was also, if you look at the volume, the buying volume of GameStop at the time, in 1 month or 2 months, was like 1,000% what it usually is. So the volume coming from retail was also very important. Now we all know what Robinhood did. They shut down the buy button of GameStop. I agree, completely terrible, disgusting. Those guys should be in jail. But unfortunately, it's the world we live in. What was the problem? GameStop was the real deal. It was a real short-term short squeeze that it was thought to be impossible to happen. What is the great problem with this? Is that hedge funds learn the lesson of what happened. So they won't be caught off guard again doing this. But what is the problem? The same people who led GameStop to happen start, what is their incentive now? So we got the real deal, let's find other real deals. So all of a sudden there was a bunch of stocks that were the real MOAs, the real mother of all short squeezes, right? This gonna short squeeze, that's gonna short squeeze, blah, blah, blah. And because people got convinced that that's gonna happen, they buy the stock. As they buy the stock price goes up. So people say, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening, as they were saying on Reddit. This is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. And then, of course, what ends up being, most cases, and if you look at the chart, is the most perfect example you can imagine, you got yourself a pump and dump. So the people who told you to buy it on Reddit, they bought in the beginning, so they made a lot of money. Then they tell people not to sell, right? This is what they do. Don't sell, blah, 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 blah. Not me, not saying any of that sort. I'm just saying what they said. While they are selling. And then the insiders of the company also sell. And then the problem is because in the beginning, the stock goes like this. So the majority of people buy it here. See? That is the issue. So they buy it at the worst possible time. And they get impacted by, they are the ones that end up holding the bags. So who made a lot of money? The guys that started the movement on Reddit, the guys who make videos on YouTube, the guys who ask for donations, the guy who sold you courses, sold you private groups, sold you everything. And what's happening is they start selling. Company's management also made a lot of money. Who lost money? Everyone else. So the great majority of people, I would say 95, 96% of people lost money. Some few people made a lot of money. And then they actually do something worse, which is talk about the stock over and over again and how it's about to go ballistic, to have the MOAs again, blah, blah, blah. And then they keep you interested for another couple of years with good videos, bad videos, good videos, bad videos all the time. So they collect huge amounts of ad revenue from you until things get so dire that eventually they stop talking about stuff. Hey, Karim. What up? Thank you for the comment. Dr. Doom. No, indeed. The mask is not for Dr. Doom. It's actually not from Dr. Doom. But it indeed looks like it. But I appreciate the comment. Let me see. Are you still bullish on X? Yes, I am still bullish on X, particularly with the victory of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust yesterday, which, forget about X, forget about Richard Hart. It's good. I don't particularly like Polygon or BNB. However, I'm very happy for them. You see, I don't particularly like Ripple or XRP, but I'm very happy for them winning. I think in this thing, look, we all have the typical, the rivalries, like the tribal thinking. I do think in this case, all the tribes should unite against the common enemy when celebrating this kind of events. If I'm still bullish on X, yes, I am bullish on X. The SEC kind of attack is not great. However, the more victories you start seeing, the better it will be for all cryptos, not just X. And with X, to me, I look at I have both. So I do have the Ethereum X and the copy on Pulse Chain. And actually, I've lowered my cost average quite a lot. I tend to always update it in my description. X is working fine, as it always did from an operational standpoint. The price did come down quite aggressively. There's no denying it. The community remains very strong. So basically, in all the things that I look for in terms of when picking a project, so community, founder, the actually quality of the project, that is actually do what it's supposed to do. Basically, if there is no admin keys, if is the code locked and cannot be changed, yes. So when you look at the whole list of things, I do feel it's still a very good project. And now, here is an issue, right? I have the benefit of holding both X's, the Ethereum and the Pulse Chain one. Now, for new people, I mean, I don't give financial advice to anybody. So basically, just to be clear, the point of me saying which coins I have is because I wanted to broadcast my journey into the next bull market and hopefully into generational wealth. I've made it extremely clear that you shouldn't copy me. And if you're here to look at me as like a guy to lead you into whatever, yeah, forget. There are plenty of channels who promise that, so you can go have fun over there. I really do the YouTube as an hobby. And in my opinion, PX is better. So the Pulse Chain X. Why? Because the fees for staking, unstaking, etc. are extremely cheaper, and there is no nefarious actors like there was this project in Ethereum X who basically got a hold of 800 million X from a very famous X whale. It's called the God whale. So there's a lot of pressure that you don't see in the PX. Now there are rumors that Ethereum is addressing the matter with the high fees, but at the moment I haven't seen it yet. It's not public, and it's Ethereum does so much more volume than all its competitors that they actually have no incentive to rush anything. So I'm not sure how quick they're going to solve the gas fees problem, because most people forgot, but in case this is your first cycle, in the last bull cycle at some point, doing a freaking swap was costing something like $300. Doing certain things was costing like $1,000, which is completely ridiculous. So if we do see another bull market this time around, we're going to see the same thing. So, but the point is, Ethereum dominates so much, maybe they don't have the incentives to move that quickly. So if you ask me, am I bullish on X? Yes. Am I more bullish on PX or EX? On PX. So I hope I've answered your question. And once again, I would say in these matters of when we are having these lawsuits with the SEC, this should be the time where we all come together. By the way, this should include the Bitcoin maxis and the Ethereum maxis, and even if your coin is not targeted, the point is, if we have actually a normal SEC regulator, like the regulators in the UK, in Dubai, in Singapore, then that's actually bullish for everybody else. So I hope I answered your question, and thank you very much. By the way, guys, if you're new to the channel, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel, so thank you very much. Apes strong together. Yes, then the whole movement came from that. Look, there were things that they did that was actually quite impressive. You know, the way that GameStop was able to rise to that level was actually quite impressive. And the fact that Robinhood like completely destroyed their credibility by removing the buy button. It's so funny, right? When companies are shorting, when hedge funds are shorting companies, and they basically help greatly in bringing them to bankruptcy, then there's no need to remove the sell button. You see? But if things are going to the other way, then they remove the buy button. Yeah, but unfortunately, this is the world we live in. So, what can I say, guys? I didn't mention I would do maybe 30 to 45 minutes. I think we are about the 41-minute mark. Is there anything you'd like to ask me? Please drop me the question. Don't be shy. Again, there are 12 people in the stream, but only, oh my God, 10 likes. My God, almost all of you actually liked. So thank you very much for that. Maybe one quick point on what I thought could be the black swans when everybody was talking about the the commercial real estate, the banks, you name it. And what happens is the big black swan events are things that people really do not expect. Just what we had in 2020, that everybody's aware, but I'm not sure if I can say the word, so I don't say it, or the tech stocks in 2000, or real estate in 2008. It needs, like the big ones, need to be when everybody's in agreement of something, and the opposite happens. So basically, when you start hearing stuff about artificial intelligence will solve the world and everything will be solved by artificial intelligence and just by AI stocks and nothing can go wrong. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just saying what you're gonna start hearing. That is probably the case. That's gonna be probably the cause for a major sell-off. It's just how markets work. Sorry, there are more comments I didn't see. KB, what up, man? I really enjoy the content and your understanding of the markets. How would be your strategy to invest in your retirement bags if you had to start right now, meaning after the fork of Pulse Chain? Karim, no problem. Thank you. If you have further questions, just drop them. I would say, I need to be careful here because I really cannot give any kind of financial advice, and that is not my idea at all. So what would I do after the fork? So you have Pulse Chain, which is the copy of Ethereum, faster, cheaper than Ethereum, runs 4 clients at the same time instead of the typical 2 or 3, very safe, audited to the yin yang, so it's a solid project. PulseX, the decentralized exchange with the buy and burn mechanism, is also very appealing to me. So what would I do? So what I'm actually doing, I consider it part of my retirement bags, is I try to buy Pulse Chain, PLS, PLSX, and X as much as I can. Typically, what I do is I try to buy the most beat down of the 3. Then I do also play a bit with the derivatives, which is Hedron and Icosa. Icosa I do get for free for staking Hedron, and Hedron I do get it from X stakes, but I also bought a bit myself. Now, yeah, my strategy is about it, is focusing on those 3 projects. I maybe give a bit more preference to Pulse Chain and PulseX because they're cycle 1 coins and not cycle 2. And finally, I'm also leaving something on the side for what's going to be the next narrative. So even during the bear market, AI cryptos, artificial intelligence related cryptos, were going up 10, 20, 30x. But in my opinion, they came a bit too soon in the cycle to be considered the narrative of the new cycle. Maybe they're gonna be. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. What I'm still struggling here is to basically see which one is gonna be what's gonna be the next narrative. Is it gonna be AI crypto? Is it gonna be interchain operability? Like Chainlink. Is it going to be decentralized exchanges after the exchanges falling apart in the last bear market? I don't know. So I do leave a little bit on the side because I do expect that narrative to become more clear as we approach the bull market. But other than that, yeah, that has been my strategy. I just accumulate my core bags the most that I can, particularly on the one that has been beaten up the most. So, for example, Pulse and PulseX tend to trade 1 to 3, so 1 Pulse, 3 PulseX. But at the moment, is trading something like 3.6, 3.7. So what I do, again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. What I do is I try to buy the one that I feel it's the cheapest in comparison with the others. That's it. That's basically all that I do. So I hope that I've answered your question. Sorry, guys, I was trying to check here something. By the way, is my audio good or not really? Let me know. I hope it's good. In any case, we're almost at the end of the stream, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so as I was saying before the question, is when you look at black swans, and everyone was talking about the commercial real estate, what was it, the banks collapsing. That's never the case for the big black swan event. What did I say at the time? I said, look, maybe it's going to be AI stocks because they're becoming extremely popular. Maybe it's going to be thank you, Tuga. Maybe it's going to be China. Everyone is convinced that China is going to overtake the world, and it's basically going to surpass everyone in every country. I'm not so sure. Do I have a crystal ball? Do I have privileged information? No. It feels like Japan 1980s. It was the same story. I'm seeing a lot of bad things in China to be convinced that they're gonna just overtake the world like that. Don't forget, they also live in a dictatorship, so they cannot tolerate recessions like we can. So I'm not sure if it's gonna come from there. Will the US and Europe, dominate the next century? Probably not. We've been the best place to live for the last 250 years. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's going to be Southeast Asia. Maybe it's going to be someplace in the Arab world. Maybe it's going to be Latin America. Who knows? But typically these things tend to shift around. So it's not like Europe was not always the best place to live for our entire history. So I do think these kind of things change. Other potential black swan. Oh, government bonds, very safe, very safe. So, really? Have you seen the level of trade deficits and budget deficits and the level of debt that economies have? Do you think they can withstand high interest rates for a long time? I don't think so. Bank of England just reported major losses in their bond portfolio because they've accumulated bonds from distressed companies all the way through the 2010s, where rates were at historical lows. So now rates are higher, that bonds are worth nothing. So they're having huge losses. So this is what happens. People are so convinced that it's so safe to buy to buy government bonds, maybe that's going to be the cause for distress. The point is, it will never come from what you expect. Think about 1929. What was happening? Everyone was convinced buying stocks is the way to go. Even the kid shining the shoes was advising people to buy stocks. That's it. Everyone was saying stocks, that's the way to go. What crashed? Stocks. 2000, how did you get rich? Buy tech stocks. What crashed? Tech stocks. 2006, you can never go. What was said at the time? Which are the strongest sectors of the U.S. economy? Oh, it's banks and real estate. What crashed? Real estate and banks in 2008. That's my point. And then China is going to dominate the world. There's no what happened 2015, the China crisis. I mean, this is what I'm trying to say. It's always there's a saying which is something like this. It's not what you know, it's not what you don't know that can, I cannot say the word, affect you, but the things that you know for sure that destroy you. So the things that you are so certain that are impossible to happen, those are the things that end up destroying you. And I'm always an advocate for something, which is actually a saying which is quite simple. Understanding these dynamics doesn't mean that I will become a short-term day trader, going like crazy around these things. But to understand a bit where the world is kind of moving, it's important to make your decision, and you should always be prepared, because failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So, and with that, maybe I will close out this first live stream. I will try to do one every week. If you guys have a couple more questions before I go, just drop them in the chat. If not, I will be heading away. Oh, by the way, I remember this Tuga. He was always asking me about Dogecoin. My God. But yeah, but it's fine. Look, it's not a scam. Okay, that is not a scam. But in any case, guys, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the likes. We are actually at 14 likes, so pretty much almost everybody must have liked the stream, which is very good. I will try to do one every week, but I do have a full-time job and I do have a family, so sometimes I've made the Dogecoin video already. You missed it. Dogecoin is a copy of Litecoin, and Litecoin is a copy of Bitcoin, old technology. That's it. The founder of Dogecoin said, I made a coin for fun. He wanted to buy a car. That's it. ADA, Cardano to $15 next bull run. Look, Cardano is not a scam. Cardano is a bit heavy now to carry up. I do know that there's a lot of developments around Cardano, despite the price either going down or not moving. So all of these are good signs. Not sure if they're gonna go to $15, but I do think they will do well. Now, what I'm doing, is I'm building my portfolio, or my retirement bags, as I called it, to the point that I don't need the coin to go up 1,000-fold. If it goes up 20, 50-fold, I'm fine. It's perfectly possible in a bull market in crypto for things to go up 20 to 50x. So that's what I'm doing. Now, I cannot tell you, oh, go do the same. No. This is basically what... Oh, sorry, guys. I still need to change a bit here the setup. But this is what I'm doing. So even if the coin doesn't go on my way, for example, X, which I do own, X in the last cycle went up 10,000-fold. 10,000x from bottom to top. That means $1,000 would turn into 10 million. Now, how many coins have done that? Very few. I'm not shooting for that kind of returns because, that happened. I think I've seen it happen with Ethereum, Bitcoin, X, Terra Luna at the time, I think, Pepe. So, you're talking about 5, 6, 7 projects out of thousands. So what I do is, if I'm really convinced that my ecosystem, the ecosystem where I am, is going to succeed, I try to build my position in order that I don't need much. 10x, 20x in the stock market is a dream, but in crypto is really not that much. To the point where even if it doesn't go to my bullish blue sky scenarios, I will still do very well. And then it's important to understand where we are in the cycle. Is the cycle going to get cut short with the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF or not? Right? That's a bit more micro management, but those are the things that we should be always aware, in my opinion. Again, I'm not here trying to give you any kind of financial advice. This is basically my journey and what I'm doing, and I hope at least you guys get some information a bit different than, oh my god, look at these 10 coins are gonna 100x in 6 months, and then of course none of them do, but you have YouTubers that do that over and over and over and over and over again until one time they're gonna eat 100-fold coin, and then they will extensively talk about it and ignore the other 150 that they missed. But this is the world of YouTube, and I spend so much time on YouTube. At least maybe I can tell you a bit of these little tricks. Oh my god, I need a full playlist of Dogecoin. That's about it. But Dogecoin is a perfect example, man. Here's a coin with no utility, but it has a community. It's not a scam. The founder is not that bad. And things go up. And for some reason, there's a billionaire called Elon Musk that loves it. I don't know. And then you also had Shiba Inu, which basically went up 1.4 million fold in 12 months. This is the world of crypto. Anything is possible. But yeah, the Dogecoin is just it. Dogecoin, to me, it already has a key ingredient, which is it is not a scam. That's it. By the way, on these meme coins, even Pepe, that went up 200-something thousand fold in a couple of 3 or 4 weeks, their developers are actually selling the coin, and apparently they are adding multi-sig into the code, which allows supposedly locked coins to be sold. So I smell trouble on that one. So you see, that coin no longer fulfills my appetite, let's say. Now, maybe nothing happens. Maybe everything is perfect and I'm being unfair. But why should I risk it? So, but in any case, guys, I would like to thank you all for being here today and for liking and subscribing. This, as I mentioned, was my first live stream. I do expect the other ones to run a bit smoother. I will try to do it once a week. Today was a bit longer, about an hour, but I will try to do 30-45 minutes next time around. I'll try to do it on a weekly basis, but at least once every 2 weeks, that is for sure. So once again, thank you very much. Welcome back to Sudden Wealth. And I do thank you all for being here. Drop that like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.